Everyone, Kevin the Switch Hip here with another exciting episode of Rescued from the Bargain Bin here at Groovy Old Records, and got some interesting stuff we're going to go through here today, so let's get started right away. My first record here is called Blow Boys Blow, sung by Ewan McCall, who's a English folk singer, a famous English folk singer. This is actually a pretty good album. Sometimes sea shanty albums could be a little bit silly, but this was pretty good. And it's funny because the guy on the label here says weird as a description for this album, but it's not weird. It's actually pretty good. I enjoy it. So, Blow Boys Blow, Sea Songs by Ewan McCall, English folk singer. Next one, yay! Next one is the Macatado. Did I pronounce that correctly? Rafael Silva, and it's polka music. It's Mexican polka music. I like the accordion, and I like polka music, whether it's Polish or Scottish or Mexican. I love that accordion music. So, oh my gosh, my dog's throwing up over there. Great record. I had this on the other day playing when I was cleaning the house. So, next one is again. These are all dollar out of the bargain bin. Bill Kaiwa. It's just Hawaiian music. It's actually pretty good. It's not cheesy Hawaiian music. It's actually interesting to listen to. So I enjoy this one. I put this on a couple times. So good record. Oh my gosh, this one. This is a Belafonte or a Harry. This is Harry Belafonte's second album. This is his second album, and it absolutely sounds brilliant. It's like the guy never played it or something like it. Look at the cover. Cover's in absolutely perfect condition. It was $1. And the record's in beautiful mono, and it just fills the room, and it's absolutely wonderful. Belafonte. Next one. Oh, this is a Mead Lux Lewis. This is kind of piano boogie woogie kind of stuff. He is most famous for, by the way, here's a little trivia. Mead Lux Lewis is, of course, the guy who plays piano at Nick's Bar in the movie It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. So that's the guy, right? Uncredited in the movie. But next one is Hilo Brown. Hilo Brown, I've got his Star Day records. He's absolutely brilliant. He's bluegrass. This is all bluegrass. It's absolutely wonderful record. Sounds great too. Again, capital mono. Nobody ever played this record. Honestly, that's how good this sounds. So absolutely enjoyed Hilo Brown. They called him Hilo because he could sing high or he could sing low. So it has something to do with his vocal range, and they call Hilo Brown. If you see his work, like I said, his bluegrass is absolutely wonderful. Here's another great bluegrass guy, Mac Wiseman. I'm sure everybody's heard of him too. This is the first actually album I've ever owned by him, Mac Wiseman. Very nice in his suit and tie, and it's bluegrass, and it's really some really good good bluegrass music. So I highly recommend it. Again, on Capitol mono. I'm just gonna put a side note here. I love the old Capitol. This is the old Capitol label from the '60s. This is like the old Beatles albums. We're all on that Capitol label. So not the orange ones that came out when I was a kid. So this is another good one. This isn't a rescue. I actually bought this new. This is 180 gram Lightning Hopkins. Yeah, who doesn't love Lightning Hopkins? I mean, the guy is so awesome. My issue with this record, of course, is that I ordered the purple vinyl and it came with black vinyl. And I was like so mad because this record would have sounded 10,000 times better if the vinyl was purple. Just saying. So anyways, Lightning Hopkins on Arhoolie Records. Now, when I was a kid, I used to get the Arhoolie catalog because I loved the Arhoolie records, the old blues records, a lot of the old acoustic blues records, and they had stuff like Tejano music, and they had just kind of some really cool folk selections and all that on Arhoolie. So I love Arhoolie records, and they're still around after all these years. Next one is Bessie Smith, and this is hopefully I haven't shown this one in a previous video, but Bessie Smith, this is just a greatest hits package. It's they record this, I guess maybe it's this Columbia or whatever, just took the scratchy 78s and just put them right on whatever, but there's some noise on here, but you could tell it's old 78s, and it's pretty good too. So Bessie Smith, and who doesn't love Bessie Smith? She's like the mother of the blues, and just a fabulous record. So this one I wasn't so happy with. This is Arthur price stock, art and soul, and it's kind of more of an R&B soul record on Verve as opposed to a jazz record. I've never heard of this guy, so I thought it would be a jazz record, but it's not. It's just kind of a I would say a mediocre R&B kind of album. And the only I think the big hit on here was "Take Me in Your Arms," 1966 from Verve. It's all right. It's not great, but it's okay. Here's an interesting one. Um, Again, this is $1. I think I might even pay that much for it because here are the hits, and it's supposed to be a rock and roll compilation that came out in the early '60s of new rock and roll bands like the Scarlets, the Velvets, the Rainbows, the Channels, the Zodiacs. But actually, it's a doo-wop album, and for a doo-wop album, it's pretty good. So I enjoy the cuts they have on here. The only thing it's a little maybe too scratchy. Obviously, the cover is. But for $1, I thought I'd give it a whirl, and I was not disappointed with it. Here's a great one here. This wasn't. This. I bought this one for $5. So sorry, it wasn't $1. Close enough though. John Coltrane and Don Cherry, the Avant-Garde, and it's a really good jazz record. I don't think there's much avant-garde about it though, but it's just a really good jazz record. So it's on, and this is on the Atlantic label. This is actually a repress. It's not the. I think it's a '70s repress of the original. So John Coltrane and Don Cherry. Interesting. I had never heard of Don Cherry. Of course, everybody knows John Coltrane, but I did not know anything about Don Cherry. Now here's a cool one. This is the Blues Project live at the Town Hall. Perhaps it is maybe a marketed or there's a marketing ploy here that all of this is not really live and all of it's not really the Blues Project. Whatever it is, it's a brilliant record. It's on Verve. It's got the flute thing, the first opening cut, the flute thing, and it's great. And like I said, it's in mono. Sounds wonderful. I think this is 1966 this record came out. Absolutely love it. And if you want to see more, if you want to hear more of the Blues Project, if you're not familiar with them, they played at Monterey. So if you get the box set, the Monterey box set, you could hear their whole set. And what absolutely fabulous record. This is Roy Brown. It's a blues record, Hard Times. And to be honest with you, I don't remember listening to this yet. I'm sure I did, but maybe I wasn't as impressed as I should be. But it's on the ABC Bluesway record. I think B.B. King put records out for them on that label too. The Classic Blues of Roy Brown. So I don't know anything about Roy Brown. I have no idea about this record, but if I do recall correctly listening to it once or twice, it sounded pretty good. It's bluesy, so. This is another good one. This is Rock Pretty Baby. This is the soundtrack for the movie Rock Pretty Baby, which I think came out in 1956 or whatever. And it was a big, huge movie up there with like, what is it, the Rock Around the Clock or whatever it was, Blackboard Jungle. It was that kind of popular movie. And it had Sal Mineo in it and Shelley Fabrice and Edward C. Platt, right? The guy who played the chief in Get Smart, he's in it. And it's Sal Mineo doesn't play on it, obviously. It's by a band called Jim Daly and the Dinglings. It's a good record. So I enjoy it. It's early rock and roll. It came out in '56 or whatever. It's a pretty good record. I enjoy it. And again, it was $1. So I'm quite happy that it was a good purchase for $1. What a brilliant cover, right? Absolutely brilliant cover. And the movie was pretty good too. But again, it's a kind of corny '50s kind of rock and roll movie. This next one, I kind of bought this out of pity. T-Rex. This is a cheap Pickwick greatest hits reissue, whatever stuff that a lot of stuff on there that wasn't a big hit for them, so they would lease the rights out to Pickwick or what's it? There's a couple other cheapy labels. This one though has the She Was Born to Be My Unicorn, Salamanda Pelaganda, which were from his first two. T-Rex used to be called Tyrannosaurus Rex, and they put out 2 or 3 folky albums. Just Mark Bolan was the singer and guitarist, and Steve Perrigan Took was the drummer, and they made 2 or 3 really fabulous acoustic albums which sadly I don't have, which I wish I did because they'd be worth a lot of money right now. I had the original one on the Regal Zonophone label, which was import from England. So first pressing, and who knows where that went. It's a shame because it's a really cool folky. And then T-Rex, they had their Electric Warrior album's fabulous, but most of the stuff after that was just to continually Mark Bolan trying to reproduce that sound and that fame that came from that album. So, anyways, next up, Mary Hopkins, Postcard. Um, I don't know if you're familiar. She had that big hit. Those were the days, and that's on this record too. So this is 1971. This is on Apple Records. It's produced by Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney plays guitar on it, and photographed by Linda McCartney. So she does the cover. So if you're a Beatles completist, maybe this will be interesting. Some of it's a little bit slow. Not all of it, but it's a pretty good album in general speaking. Mary Hopkin on Apple. Oh, here's one of my favorites. I bought this. I had this on CD, and I saw this at the store, and the lady wanted $15 for it, and I talked her down to 7 or something like that, and she gave it to me because I would give it a good home. And this is Woody Guthrie, the Library of Congress recordings. It's him and Alan Lomax basically sitting down, and he sings these Dust Bowl ballads, and Alan asks him questions. Alan Lomax, I always think of him. He's kind of got that New York City accent, and he's talking to Woody Guthrie about the Dust Bowl. They had no idea what the Dust Bowl was, maybe. I don't know. But anyways, it's a really good record. It's a 3-record set. And it's got a cool Library of Congress recordings. And it's got the cool booklet with it. And it's got the lyrics and everything. And the Woody Guthrie drawings on it. So, highly recommend it. Woody Guthrie, Library of Congress recordings. Now, this album, this is a new one. This is a 180 gram pressing of Eden's Island by Eden Abes. And if you've never heard this guy, it is probably one of the most strangest things that you've ever heard in your life. This is 1962, and as you can see, he's kind of considered the first hippie. He lived in Los Angeles underneath the Hollywood sign. He wrote songs for Nat King Cole. I think Nature Boy was his big hit. Fascinating record. It's kind of a mixture of jazz, beat poetry, and that exotica kind of sound that was quite popular in the 60s. Eden's Island. And then on this is a double record set. So the second record has all these other songs that he's done, and it is equally as good as the first record on this. So I highly recommend it. Eden's Island's got a cool book with it. And this guy's story, Eden Abes, is absolutely fascinating. Look him up on the internet, and you'll be absolutely fascinated by this chap here. Eden's Island. Considered probably, some people have called it kind of the first psychedelic album. I won't go that far, but it's certainly an interesting record to listen to. Okay, the next one we have, oh my gosh, here's a good one for you. This is Raga. This is Ravi Shankar, and this is the soundtrack to the movie Raga, which is made by Apple. It was an Apple movie, and this is an Apple record. And George Harrison produces it, and he also plays on it too. So you can hear Ravi Shankar and George Harrison jamming on this. So it's a really good record. I love Indian music. I don't know a raga from a vindaloo, but it's just such enjoyable to listen to Indian classical Indian music. So I guess this is what they call it. I don't know. Ravi Shankar, he's sometimes I've seen interviews with him where he kind of poo-poos us Westerners for enjoying the music because we don't get it, right? My thing is like, okay, whatever. No, wasn't raised in the slums of Calcutta, so I don't get it. But I still enjoy listening to the music, and I think that's what it's about. So, sorry, Ravi. Oh, here's a great one too. This is a Party, the Beach Boys, and this is kind of, I would say probably the first unplugged album. Maybe it's just the Beach Boys unplugged acoustic in the studio, and they overdub party noises or whatever. And it's a really good, absolutely great, great. And you have Dennis Wilson does You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, the Beatles song, which I think he does a brilliant version of that. And there's a Dylan song on here, Times They Are Changing. There's 2 or 3 Beatles songs on here. Really good stuff. There's a couple of Mike Love things like Papa Umamau that I could probably do without, and I don't know why. Alley Oop, they could have left that off. But the other thing too is that you can actually buy a CD set with the outtakes, and I think I'm going to buy that because some of the, I've heard it before on iTunes or whatever. But some of the outtakes of this album are brilliant. Some like I could, let's take Papa Umamau off there and put some of those outtakes on this record, and it's fun. It's fun, you know. And here's the inside, and I gave a I gave it a loving home. The Beach Boys Party. So I think this is from 1965, and it's duophonic, so which means it's not stereo. It's fake stereo. Oh, here's a good one. Dave Edmunds DE7, and which is the chords, right? DE7 are chords. Um, this is an absolutely brilliant record. I love Dave Edmunds, and this is probably his best, I think. Not a bad song on here. From Small Things, Mama, Big Things When They Come. It's a Bruce Springsteen song. Um, it's got Warmed Over Kisses, Deep in the Heart, Texas, Louisiana Man, a Doug Kershaw song, and it sounds brilliant. It's just absolutely great record. DE the seventh, DE7, Dave Edmunds. Great rockabilly. My brother Brian and I saw him play at the Kabuki nightclub in San Francisco back in the 80s, and the Stray Cats were there too, so it was a really good show. Dave Edmunds. Um, is this okay? The last one I have for you is Sunflower, the Beach Boys, and I talked to the woman. I love this record. This record's absolutely brilliant. The Beach Boys, this one and the sister album, Surf's Up, is probably the two best Beach Boys albums ever. And what people don't realize, when they think of the Beach Boys, they're thinking Surf and Safari and In My Room. But during the 70s, I mean, they made good records, and they were a popular touring band. They weren't doing the oldies circuit. They were doing the oldies cruise to the Caribbean, right? Brilliant record. Bruce Johnson is brilliant on here. It's got a lot of Dennis Wilson songs on it. Um, Wonderful, wonderful record. It sounds good. This one a little popping and cracking on there, but overall, just such a delight to listen to. And you can actually I bought this first on CD several years ago and had some outtakes on it. And now you can actually, I think there's, one of those bonus big box CD things, which has Sunflower Surfs Up, all kind of the sessions together and all the stuff that didn't make it onto the vinyl. So great record. I love it. Sunflower, the Beach Boys. What a cool cover too. See what you got the inside? You can see all the Beach Boys there. So highly recommend it. One of my favorite albums of all time, and certainly one of my favorite Beach Boys albums, Sunflower. So that's all I have, except I got a bitch now. I went on eBay, and I collect Star Day albums. That's my specialty, or the Star Day, the old hillbilly records from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And I'm trying to complete my collection. So I bought this one, Tragic Songs of Death and Sorrow, and the issue was that it was advertised as VG plus. Well, this is not VG plus. This is POS minus. It's just such a crappy cover. Look at this. It's just all tore up. Look at the back. It's all warped, and it's got big chunky thing out of there. And the album itself is just totally unplayable. This was in some guy's barn. That's all it was. It was in somebody's barn, and they thought they could get away with selling it to a sucker like me. It was $5. So it was only out about $10, including postage. So I'm not too crabby about it. But anyways, if you're gonna buy used stuff on eBay, you gotta expect a dud every once in a while. Some guy. So I don't know. I guess I could give the seller a bad review or something like that, but I probably won't. I just won't ever order from him again if I can even remember who I ordered it from. So, anyways, this is Kevin the Switch Hippie here. I hope you like the albums I got here. We'll look forward to seeing you guys next time, and keep doing it. All right, we'll talk to you later.